Hey guys, today I have for you 3 horror stories that are to die for. So turn off the lights, cuddle in your blankets, and let's get right into it. The first story is called The Porcelain Doll. It's about Isabel, who's a 7-year-old girl. She fell in love with a doll, but that would be her demise. So let's get right into it. Isabel is a 7-year-old girl who loved dolls like most girls at a young age. One day, her mother told her she had to go do something. So of course, Isabel, as a 7-year-old girl, was forced to go with her mother to the store. But Isabel loved going to the store because they passed by a certain antique shop where you could shop for dolls, as they had many on display. So they passed by the antique shop, and Isabel saw a beautiful porcelain doll that she immediately fell in love with and told her mom, "Mom, I want that doll. I want that doll." With an eager look on her face, her mother, who was in a hurry, told Isabel, "We could come back tomorrow and buy it, okay, Isabel? But make sure to remind me." So that night, Isabel and her mother walk back home, and Isabel has a hard time falling asleep. She's imagining having the doll in her collection of many dolls, but she knew that this doll would be the most beautiful doll in her collection. The next morning, after not sleeping enough, Isabel ate breakfast and admired her favorite drawings like every day. After a couple of hours, she felt tired and frustrated about not being able to sleep enough the night before because of the doll. So in a fit of rage, she said to herself that she didn't want the doll anymore and focused on other things, and didn't remind her mother that they had to go for the doll that day. As the night came, Isabel went up to the stairs to her room, which she was scared to go into alone, so her mother followed her up the stairs and stayed in the room next to hers every night. After half hour of falling asleep, Isabel woke up to hear a voice in her ear saying, "I'm going up the stairs. 1, 2, 3 steps." Isabel, frightened, called her mother to the room, saying somebody was in the staircase making noise. Her mother, annoyed and tired, told her there was nothing down the stairs to go back to sleep. And as soon as she walked out the room and Isabel tucked back in, Isabel hears it again. "I'm going up 4, 5, 6 steps." Isabel calls her mother again. Immediately, her mother checks again and there's nothing, so she decides to comfort Isabel and tell her to go back to sleep. As soon as she walks out the room, Isabel is paranoid, but she decides to try to go to sleep again. As soon as her mother walks out, she hears the voice again, saying, "I go up 7, 8, 9, 10 steps. I'm in the hallway now." And the voice starts laughing hysterically. The next morning, Isabel's mother wakes up, alarmed that Isabel hasn't woken up before her, but she dismisses it. She thinks about how her daughter had a hard time sleeping the night before. But after an hour of being awake, and her daughter not being awake by then, her mother, alarmed, goes up the stairs to check on her. When she enters the room, she screams and is horrified when she sees Isabel in her bed in a pool of blood, stabbed 17 times across her body. But the most disturbing part of this story is that Her daughter is missing her left arm, and her mother immediately had a flashback and remembered that the doll was missing her left arm when they saw her in the antique shop. Her mother, terrified, looks up through the window, and through the window in the metal, she sees the doll, the same doll, standing beside the tall grass, and she waves at the mother holding her daughter's left arm. So now that we heard that story, let's go straight into the next one. I want you guys to tell me what you guys think in the comments. I want to hear your opinion. The second one isn't about paranormal or horror stories though. It's something much more terrifying that I'm sure and I hope you guys never experience in a lifetime. This is the Pluris cave incident. Now, if you're afraid of diving, I hope you don't dive into this story. In February 2014, Kai was one of the last divers to enter Norway's Pluris cave. The cave is huge. The cave is huge. It's 2014. It's the end of winter. So you already know the water is freezing, especially in Norway. The pond leading up to the cave had frozen over, completely frozen. So Kai's group had to cut a hole in the iceberg. They had to cut a hole in the ice before diving in. They planned to swim through the pathways of the Pluris cave and come out on the other side through a tunnel that was down in the bottom, more than 100 feet. There was also an exit on the mountainside after that tunnel, so they decided they would go straight down through that tunnel and end up on the other side of the mountain. So as soon as Kai dives in and his group of 3 start going under, Kai stays in the back. When he gets down, he finds his friend's body trapped in that narrow passageway. He had choked and he was lifeless. Jari's lifeless body had blocked the way to the only exit to the other side. He tried to save him, but he couldn't calm him down, so he died. His other companion was the next to die, leaving Kai alone. So Kai, his only plan now was to survive. So he turned back around and he swam up the freezing water for hours. And as he made it up to the top layer of ice that they have carved a hole into, he couldn't find the hole. So as Kai is in a panic, he starts banging the ice, trying to smash his way out of there. By the time that he eventually got out and broke the ice, Kai had been underwater for more than 11 hours. The group that went before Kai's group made it to the other side and survived. But Kai's group, sadly, the only one remaining was Kai. So the 2 bodies that were in that lake weren't recovered till 2 months after the incident, because it was so deep and it was so dangerous that the rescuers had to wait till the water was completely liquefied. All the ice was completely liquefied so that they could enter and resurface those bodies. Tell me, would you ever dare to go diving that deep, more than 100 feet? And the last story that I have for you guys is a personal story of mine. This happened to me when I was 11 years old. And if you guys don't believe in the paranormal, I totally get it. I understand. I wasn't a believer till something happened to me that changed the course of my life. The story that I'm going to be talking about today, I call it, Is She Over My Bed? As I stated prior, I was 11 years old when this story took place. It had been a regular day. Everything was going well, smooth. But as soon as I came back home late at night, I had gone to the mall, hanged out with friends. We were joking around. They were telling me, hey, what if a girl followed you home or some shit? What would you do? You know? And me trying to act tough, I was like, man, if a girl followed me home, she ain't doing nothing, bro. There's nothing she could do to scare me. So as soon as I got home, I started feeling a sense of paranoia somewhere along the lines. So it was getting late. It was around 10 when I got back home. I'd gone with my friends to the mall, with my uncles, aunts, cousins, you know. I was with the whole family. So at the time, my aunt was staying with us. So there was 10 of us in this house. So as you can tell, it's noisy till everybody goes to sleep. So I was pretty comfortable. I ate, you know, even though I still had that sense of paranoia, and I was paranoid, like really paranoid. I didn't really take it too harsh on myself. I said it'll go away. Just relax, take it easy. So I'm sitting there. It's already around 12, and everybody's starting to go to sleep. So I decide, you know what? It's about time that I head back to sleep too. So I lay back and I start to rest. I wake up around 2:50 in the morning, right before 3 o'clock, 3 in the morning. So that sense of paranoia is at an all-time high. I feel it. I feel horrible. I start sweating. I don't know how to feel, and I call my aunt, and I'm like, no, tia. You know, I'm Mexican, so, you know, when something's going wrong, you either call mom or dad or your aunt if they're staying with you, or your grandma. So I call her and I tell her, I feel paranoid. Is there anything outside? Is there anybody close in the living room? And she told me, no, mijo, everything's alright. I don't see anybody. Because this was frequent with me when I was younger. I had a lot of paranormal sightings, encounters. So they knew about my traumas and all the stuff that I went through. So automatically they knew what I was referring to. So when she said that, I felt a sense of relief. So I decided, you know, I'm just gonna let the feeling be. So I tried to go back to sleep. I woke up 10 minutes later. By the time I had finished that conversation, it was 3 o'clock. I went to sleep at 3, woke up like 3:15. And I felt worse. So at that time, I would sleep with my covers over my face. I know that's weird as fuck, but you know, I never felt easy at home till now, till I turned like 17. But I remember laying there and I'm like, I'm gonna take a peek. I'm gonna see what's wrong, cause I know something's wrong. I could feel it. So I peek. I open a little slit under my covers and I peek. And I clearly remember there's this girl standing over me. I don't recognize at all, with a huge grin on her face. See, look, I'm getting chills. I'm getting chills all over my body. There's this girl with a huge grin on her face, looking right over me like this while I'm sleeping. So of course, ooh, look at that. Look at that. I don't know if you guys can see that, but I completely have chills right now. So I see that girl peeking over me with a huge grin. I panic. I call my aunt. I scream at her. I'm like, there's somebody. Please turn on the light. And they didn't believe me. So what she did was like, no, there's nobody, mijo. Don't worry, go back to sleep. I promise you there's nobody. If you see it again, call me and I'll turn on the light. So I'm panicked. I can't sleep. I lay there for another 20 minutes. 20 minutes I laid there in complete silence, not making a move, nothing. And I decide, you know what? I'm going to check again. Maybe I was just seeing things. So I open up that slit again. But this time, my eyes don't focus. So when it's dark and you first see the light again, like even the moonlight, I remember the moonlight was bright that night. Your eyes have to readjust. So I'm like, okay, my eyes are probably readjusting. So I stay in that position for like around 10 seconds until my eye kind of starts adjusting. And when I realize what I'm looking at, I start screaming, almost crying. I was a young kid, so when I focused, what I was looking at was straight into somebody else's pupil, a gray pupil. I remember it clearly, a gray pupil with all the veins on the outside of your eye popped, so there was a lot of blood there. So it was just red eye with gray pupils. And I screamed. I called my aunt. She immediately got up and turned on the light. And I took off my covers, because you know what they say, when you see something, the light, man, the light is like those evil dark spirits don't like the light, so they go away from it. So as soon as she turns on the light, I shot up, took off my cover, and I feel the coldest wind pass right through me. Oof, those chills. I keep getting those chills. I feel the coldest wind pass right in front of me towards the kitchen. So my parents' house, it's the living room, and there's a little slot that goes straight into the kitchen, and then there's another one that goes straight into their room, into the garage. So it goes straight down to the kitchen, and when I look at the kitchen, I could see a foot go over into the kitchen and disappear. So I run into the kitchen, and there's nothing. There's nobody there. 3 days after, I was super paranoid still. I go to sleep. I wake up around 5:50. My dad leaves for work at 6. like most campesinos, or most agricultural workers. So he's leaving, and as I'm about to call him to tell him to have a good day at work, I hear a raspy, deep voice in the back of my ear tell me, "Don't call him." I immediately froze. I was so shocked. It was so deep. I've never heard a voice that deep in my entire life. Not even Scottie Pippen. So I immediately froze up and tensed up, and I put the covers back over my head. So tell me, guys, do you think that was a paranormal encounter? Or was it just me and my mind playing tricks on me? This is gonna be it for this video. I promise I'll keep posting and I'll keep making new content for you guys. I hope you guys enjoy my video. Take care, and remember, I didn't tell you. It was just in the back of my head.